Welcome back, everyone.
We are here to talk about secrets to filling a room.
Now, many of you, well, first of all, in my own real estate business, one of my biggest marketing strategies was real estate seminars. And I don't share it with too many people because they're a lot of work, they took a lot of time, but we had, once we learned what we were doing, and then when I did a customer service consultant as well, again, you had to fill a room, but we would put between 60 or 70 people in a room and pull about 15 transactions out of each one. So it was really lucrative for us, but it took a lot of time, a lot of preparation and stuff to make it happen.
You had a team.
I had a team.
Okay.
I had a team, and I'll talk about that as well, about how we did that. But the gist of this is whatever, regardless of the event, insert event here. It doesn't have to be a real estate seminar.
No, insert you're having all of your friends over for a Christmas potluck. Like, that's still hard to get everybody to come to. Like,
exactly.
Same principles apply.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about this in general. How do you fill a room? One more thing that, just to share with you, I got advice from a gentleman that has worked with Jack Canfield himself, the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy. And Jack Canfield, his saying, regardless of what you're doing, the hardest thing you'll ever do is fill a room. And I have said that so many times. The hardest thing you'll ever do is fill a room. You think that you'll just hold the event and people will come? You are so wrong. The hardest thing you'll ever do is fill a room.
Which is basically my job. Which means
true.
that I have the hardest job in the entire world.
It is the hardest job in the entire world.
Hardest job in the entire world.
Okay, let's kick it off. Kirsten, start us off because I feel like you are an expert at so many things, but this is one of the things you excel at, and this is a big difference between you and my personality.
Yes, huge. So typically, this is very true. So as far as all of our events go, I typically start planning everything at least a year in advance. This golf tournament that's tomorrow, I started planning last August, which sounds crazy, but we had all of our pricing, our venues, our meals picked out, our pro shop prizes by a year ago. Typically, any social events that we have, classes that we're having in February, the venues are already booked out for, the pricing is already done, the sponsorship packages are already put together for. And one of the things that I feel like is so important about that is when you get close to the event, there's so much stuff that you have to be doing that I can't even imagine not having those huge things done. Because if you have to worry about those big milestones leading up to an event, all the great little finishing touches that actually make something special and unique, you're not going to have time to do.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things is just if you want your first pick of a venue and you love the venue, they book a year in advance, at least a year in advance.
At least, and especially if you want to do something on a Friday or a Saturday, and if you're looking at things like, oh, I'm just going to have it at a community association. Oh, yoga classes, mom and tot classes, seniors over 55 playing
bingo.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, there's a lot of really, really, really tough places.
Yeah. So you need to start this process early. Okay. A next point. You have to decide how many people you want to get to the event. And then you have to be very realistic with yourself because I'll tell you, just because you say that you want 50 people at the event or 30 people at the event, what happens if you get 12? I'll tell you a quick story. I had a Cardell Theater booked out for one of my events, which is 100 and some odd people, and I had 26 people show up to the event, which means that every fourth seat was empty, and they all sat, like 10 people sat in the back row and of Cardell Theater, imagine that. 3 people sat a little bit further down, and then the rest were spread out. It looked like there was nobody there, and the event looked like a complete failure. But if you had 25 people sitting in a U shape around in a smaller room, it would have been standing room only, where all of a sudden you have to bring in, you only had chairs out for 20 people, and now 5 more chairs are kind of being brought in and stuff. It looks like it was a huge success. So the venue matters. So we have a slide that I want to put up here that actually shows different room configurations based off of size. And here's what's so neat about this, is that you can use the room configuration to make it look successful based on how many people you have RSVP.
That's great.
So you put a room together. So for example, our Professional Development Center, it seats about 25 people with the classroom style. Now I can put 50 people in here if we remove all the tables and go chair to chair, theater style. If all of a sudden I only have 12 people register for an event, we might do it boardroom style or the U-shaped, Where now people walk in, they look at the room configuration, they see only 12 chairs out, and they think, gosh, this thing's sold out.
Oh, you're giving your secret. You're giving our secrets away.
I know. Every chair here is filled, and this is exactly what we wanted. So it's really cool. And when you actually send out your invites, say this. Thank you so much, Jordan. That's awesome. So you can look at it.
That's a great photo.
Yeah. And one of the things you can do is you can say in the invites, and I had to poll the audience, our staff in the back, I said, if I say to you, we've invited a small group to attend this informative event or a small group to a client appreciation event, how many people is a small group? And what's interesting about it is
Did everyone say something different?
Yeah, I had some people say 10, I had some people say 50, I had some people say 25, and it just depends on perspective. But if you say a small group, suddenly the expectations of the audience are set very well, that if there's only 12 people there, well, we said it was a small group. Oh, there's 25 people there. Well, we said it was a small group, and that's it.
I like it.
Yeah. Next one, you need to have compelling name and teaser content. Kirsten, and you've always been really good about saying to me that you need my description in advance or some key points. Why is that?
Well, I think that there's a lot of people, especially in real estate, like how many realtors are in Calgary right now?
5,300.
How many real estate brokerages are there?
230.
How many people think that they're a real estate trainer? I mean, the point is there's so many people that are trying to do kind of the same thing.
Yes.
There's only so much content in this industry. And unless you can find a way to really differentiate what you're doing or make it sound sexy or make it extremely applicable, like nobody wants to go to another first-time home buyer seminar.
Right.
Right? Like, so in terms of teaser content, I feel like you really need to break out with a couple key messages. This is completely what's in it for you. This is why it's different. This is the action item that you're going to leave with, and that's why it's good for your life. And put a bit of a cool title on it. Otherwise, it's just same old, and you're going to have a really hard time getting people out.
Yeah, we had our Real Estate Off the Record event, and we also had the one that I did, my kind of keystone event, the one that I did most often was called the 6 Most Dangerous Real Estate Trends, and that's where we put 70 people at. We did a first-time home buyer seminar or a home buyer seminar, and we delivered invitations to every home in like Collingwood and Brentwood, and we rented the Triwood Community Center. 2 people showed up.
That was the one that was the home buyer seminar?
And we jogged the neighborhoods and rolled them up and Ticketmaster tickets and delivered them at every single door.
Oh, that's so sad. You tried so hard.
Yeah, and it was
that would have been tough.
So I've learned how to prevent that problem. But that was one of the things. So you can also, when you create this teaser, create a short video. You and your iPhone. Explain what it is, upload it to YouTube, and now promote that on everything. Check out our video here on the tickets or the poster that you send out or the emails. Obviously, you can have a little web page set up for the event, like all these types of things. Promote that video everywhere.
Can I mention one more thing on that?
Please.
So I know, we have a mother-daughter team that emailed me this morning who's doing a home show trade show booth. I've seen, we have some other realtors that are trying to get people to get their tickets to go to the fall home show. There's a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily content related or a client appreciation party. For something as simple as I've purchased 50 home show tickets and I actually want people to put their hands up to go, something like that is almost like how do you get opt-ins too? And instead of saying go to the fall home show, I mean, go look at and just in terms of teaser content, go and look at the actual activity day of agenda, and is there a huge draw happening somewhere? Is there some celebrity home stager that's going to be here at 2 p.m.? And instead of saying, like, do you want tickets to the home show, pitch that in a much different way than everybody else is pitching tickets for the home show to make it so specific so someone's going to look at it and be like, wow, like, I need to be there at 2 p.m. because there's a $5,000 draw for landscaping that I absolutely want. So treat everything like that, even your client appreciation events versus, do you guys want to come to a movie, which often, will sell itself a little bit. If there's a few other unique things that you can do like that, it's always beneficial.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's awesome. Our next one is build scarcity with save a date or registration opens at. And here's what you're going to do is you're going to take MailChimp, Constant Contact, whatever you're going to do, and you're going to set up a page that you can send out to people or an email bait that basically says, hey, you send out an email to your database, or your team's database or whatever it is, to as many people as possible, basically. Try to get as many databases involved. We're going to talk about that in a bit here. But you want to say, coming soon, or save the date this will be January 26th. We're going to be doing this. Registration opens on November 5th or something like that. And here's the teaser content that's going to happen. If you're interested, get notified first for the limited seats. And what happens with that is that if you make it compelling, then people are now signing up because they're interested, just giving their email, and that's it, and you put them on a list. And what you try to do is get, I don't know, it depends on the scale of your event, a couple dozen, whatever it is, but you can get like 500, 600 people or 200, 300 people on this pre-list. And then what happens is that you notify that list. Sit by your computer at whatever time. We're going to be releasing tickets for this and blah, 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 blah. First person in gets it. And then when the actual time comes in, bang, you send out the email and say, registration now available. And it makes it where they're like, oh my God, I got to get in on this. I want to be the first person to get in.
Can I give one example that I think some people will know? So not everybody will know this, but there's a big event in Calgary called the White Party. And I'm sure everybody has seen photos on Facebook. And it's lovely. Like, it's a wonderful night. So, I mean, like, it's definitely worth going to. There'd be Scarcity anyways. But the way that they built it, one of the ways that they built it from being very grassroots to something massive today is that you had to register for a wait list. There was a tier 1 wait list, a tier 2 wait list, and a tier 3 wait list.
Perfect.
And depending on the wait list you got on, that was when you had your registration opportunity. And then if you didn't get to go a certain year, then you got bumped up to a different wait list. And it was like wait list number 2 between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. And literally people will put calendar reminders to be like, this email is coming tomorrow. Like, I'm going to put an alarm on my phone at 1 p.m. too. And this was, and I know this for a fact, this was before, and you have to carry your own table, you have to bring your own food at $75. I mean, like, it's beautiful, but it's not.
Yeah.
But the way that they built up demand for this is nuts.
And that's the way you do it. And you say that the people that signed up for this initial list have 24 hours to sign up, or 48 hours before it goes to the general public.
Oh, yeah.
And now you've created this sense of, it's huge. And you can even have a Facebook invite that people can click off and say, I'm interested, but you can't actually register yet. It's like, I'm going fine, but it's like, nope, registration doesn't open until this.
Totally.
And then you get it done. Okay, we're going to keep on moving through this in the interest of time here. On weekends, on weekdays you can't do it. Mornings are better than weekends, especially for free events. Here's the value of a free event is 0 in people's minds, which means that you wake up Saturday morning, and your event starts at 7 o'clock. If anything comes up on that Saturday that's perceived to be more important than free, you're not going to get people there. So you're going to have a heck of a time trying to do it. So if it's a paid event, fine. People are more likely to come. But just remember, anytime you do a free event, your no-show rate triples. Like triples. And we're talking like up to 50% or higher for no-show rates. I'm just going to touch on that point right now.
Sure.
For no-show rates, if you have a free event and you're anticipating 25 people, whatever it is, or let's say you're anticipating 50 people RSVP'd, let's say, I would have room set out in my class for 30 people. Well, and I would have, I would have room set out for 30 people, and I would tell the hotel venue, I need chairs put around the corner here, waiting in case we get more people that come. And you can even take away some chairs. You might even block off the last few chairs or something like that to bring them in. I might even have it set up for 25 people so that when more people come, the hotel is ready to bring out a couple more chairs, or you have a couple people helping you, and then people are just like, oh my gosh, this is just way more successful than I ever dreamed.
Yeah.
So having an expandability to your sorry, I was going to interrupt you, but a good example of that is at the Real Estate Off the Record event, and this was your idea, is we had 900 people registered, I think, knowing that 50% might not come. So we actually only set 450 chairs up, but we had 200 chairs stacked in the back so that as people came, if there was an issue, and it was perfect because 450 people did come. And then everybody who came late, we had all the staff bringing out chairs. And even some of our managers who, weren't in on that truck were like, wow, like it's so busy, like we don't even have enough chairs set up. So the perception of it is really big, and that was your idea, and it was much better than having, even for all the people who are late, the experience for people who are there on time is, there's not that many people here versus, the people who were there did get the experience of being in a packed room, which for them is great. That's huge. And the other thing is you leave room at the back. And you can have as much room in the back, so there's room to mill around. If you want to be really sneaky, put a couple cocktail tables at the back, and then some sponsor booths or some tables or something like that around the back. depending on what you're doing. But you can have a big room with like 5 or 6 cocktail tables,
Yeah.
and that's just the feel of the event.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. So you can really get creative on how you make it look like this was all intended. Okay, multiple mediums for marketing. People have to see this invite 7 times, at least 7 times. And so you're going to use Facebook, you're going to use email, you're going to use mail. You're actually going to mail out real tickets, not from Ticketmaster. I don't like Ticketmaster stuff unless people are actually requesting their exact ticket. But the tickets themselves that you're mailing out are going to say, this ticket entitles you and a guest to attend whatever. RSVP required to activate the ticket.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that we do that. I mean, there's a few reasons we need tickets for our Stampede party. One of them is like the venue's packed. You have to be with us to get in. But the other one was we knew that a client's verbal response from an email to you would be a lot less likely in them showing up than you've actually physically taken the time to give them tickets, right? Like just the psychology behind that changes.
It's thump value. When you get something in the mail and you're like, oh gosh, I got the email on this, and it's a real ticket, it legitimizes the event. It's not just someone haphazardly saying, oh, I just posted this on Facebook and inviting all my friends.
Yeah.
It makes more people show up because they actually legitimize it. Also, YouTube, obviously get your poster up on there. Instagram, you can use it to promote. And then we have a screenshot here from Eventbrite. And the screenshot here, I just want you guys to use Eventbrite because it's a phenomenal registration tool. I would have people register on Facebook and on Eventbrite, but you gotta make sure that people are, usually Eventbrite is sort of the definitive list that I direct my Facebook ad traffic
more legit
over to Eventbrite, and that's where people RSVPing at. That's where they have to RSVP to activate their ticket. Even on the Facebook group, hey guys, don't forget to activate your ticket, because you'll see people that are like interested, but you don't know what they're going to do on Facebook. But you still want to use Facebook for the promotion.
Absolutely.
Cool. Continuing on, another one here, collaborate. Collaborate. You have 150 people in your database, 200 people in your database, whatever you have. Bring in the masses. I asked my mortgage broker, I said, hey, do you want to hold this as part of your client appreciation event as well, or the home inspector or the lawyer or anything else, non-competing industry, like if they have other realtors who those clients are,
of course.
You want to be conscious of that, but you can have it where you collaborate in. People can use sponsorship. I had people that were at offices for my 6 Most Dangerous Trends, and I asked them, hey, do you have a coffee room where you can put up a poster? And they said, yes. Hey, do you have anybody you can share this on Facebook to? And suddenly, we had a database of about 800 people on our team that we sent out stuff to, but then we had it where we went bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't forget as well that if you've put out to all these people, send out a follow-up email saying how successful the event was. Because even if you only had 12 people show up and you were hoping for 50, so you set it up in that U shape in the room, or a boardroom table, remember, small group, people are like, yeah, those 12 people. And you thank everybody. Hey, thank you so much for a successful event. We were so happy. And the other 800 people that you invited,
they have no idea.
They believed the event was huge.
Yeah.
They believed the event was huge. So I don't necessarily go up and post up pictures on Facebook of the event where people can count the empty chairs.
Of course.
Unless it's sold out. You want it where people just believe that this was huge because you get the credit for doing it anyways.
Exactly. That's the big part, is that you get the credit for doing it anyways. Because nobody else, the people who weren't there, don't know how many people were sitting in the chairs.
Exactly.
They just feel like they may have missed out if you do a good job at the event follow-up.
And then you can have it where people roll over their wait list or the anticipation list to go on to the next event.
Right.
Last point, finish it off here. Recruit warm bodies. Get your friends, your family, and just say, hey, listen, and be honest with them. I don't know how many people are going to attend this. Can I count on you to come out? I'll buy you dinner after, or we'll go for drinks after, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
And you can have it where 6, 7, 8 people guaranteed are going to be the people you can rely on, but nobody else from your database knows them.
No.
So it really pads the room and
we've
makes it
done
look
some
busy.
of that in our very, very early events at CIR when we were doing things for the very first time, or some different events. It wasn't, I don't want to say it was padding, but there was definitely some people that I called to invite that I thought they'd like it. So I didn't want, they wouldn't have had a bad day, but the point of it was, I'd feel really good just knowing that for sure these people are going to be here, because there's that perception of warm bodies.
Absolutely. And send out a ton
So
of
we do
reminder
we do
emails.
the same stuff, right? Like, we are not above this. This is a hard job. Most CIR events that we have, even something like our AGM, which is a huge event for us, even those events have a 20% no-show rate, right? Like, this is tough for us too, and this is valuable. So we share the plight. It's tough.
When Richard Robbins does a free event here in Calgary and they have 300 people that attend the event or whatever, they have a 50% no-show rate, which means that they had 600 people say yes to the event
300 show
and
up.
only 300 show up, and they know it, and only 300 chairs are out. And they'll leave a little bit of room typically to put people in. This is normal. So when you're kind of wondering, oh gosh, like this room looks full, they had 600 people. And I know what happens to
We
you
should
guys.
end this meeting being like, let's not be those people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's have a little bit more.
Show up. You commit to something, show up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's be those type of people. That is nice.
Absolutely.
When somebody puts something on and you're going to say you're going to be there, own your word, be honorable.
Get out there, plan these things in advance.
Yeah.
Build some hype for it. Make sure people RSVP, send out lots of reminder emails, and adjust your room accordingly. Overcompensate in terms of thinking less people will show up and design the room accordingly, but make it expandable. Be creative.
I like it.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry that we're a little bit late, but it's not often that we get to have Gemma and Paula, so we didn't want to make them talk less because they're such special guests. So thank you for staying tuned in. Have a great week. We'll see some of you tomorrow and at the Bachelor program and at our classes on Thursday. So lots of reasons to come out, and if not, we'll see many of you next Monday.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Bye.